Alright, so let's do Wicso. As you might realize that I didn't do Wicso today because
Yeah.
I went to see the Mario movie.
Yeah.
So let's do Wicso today. Let me just make sure it's on the right layer. Here we will see that this pink country will kind of expand. You see them expand before going to this lake. As they know they can't get a coastline, so they are depending on this lake. You see them expanding up north, kind of towards this country, but we end up seeing these guys kind of expanding south quickly so that they don't get cut off and then just be stuck small forever. We actually see them shooting around here to cut off the pink team, which these guys don't really care. They were just expanding in every direction. You see these guys kind of expanding south mostly, but we actually see Purple Egypt shooting across and cutting them off, which these guys really don't like that, and there's almost a big war, but Israel ends up calming them down. So here in Asia, he said here in Asia, expansion. You see some expanding or exploring along this southern coastline. So they explore most of it before going across this pathway thing, where they just explore here until this entire area is explored. You see them exploring over here.
Yeah.
See them kind of going into India, but not going fully south. This place is already cold. So they won't try to stray too far away from the warm area. You see them fully going down here until they get here, which is cold for them. See them going here before huge, just exploration over in here. Wait. Which they can't really explore anymore. You see them exploring down south to here. To here, which we actually have a suggestion. So we will have a canyon country up here. I think Kenya is about right here. So we see this canyon country kind of expanding down here. We'll actually see a few Chinese countries appear. Maybe an Indian too. We see this Chinese country. We see a Taiwan nation, which kind of is all over the place. They have no real goal in sight. We see maybe a country right here, maybe Vietnam. which those will be these three countries all the way over there, which we will also see an Indian country be formed right about here. Which over here, probably we'll see Bangladesh be formed, which might be maybe this color right here, which Bangladesh will kind of expand very small amount. Strange. So over here we will see that these guys will expand in I think Yemen or Oman, which doesn't matter because they're expanding in both. Here, India expanding. Bangladesh will kind of explore a little bit. So after Bangladesh explores a little bit, they will more largely expand along this giant gulf. We will see, I think maybe Cambodian country kind of be formed, which Cambodia will expand a lot. So they land over here, taking up most of this. Over here we will actually see a war. These guys. We see that these guys just wanted this lake, so they are quickly invading, taking one city, but in the south, we end up seeing that these guys will push in, taking one city, before spearheading for another city. But here we see that these guys will actually work to encircle them, but then they see this and quickly retreat back before more betteringly taking this city before successfully cutting these guys off, which then these guys end up losing all that. As we see these guys are kind of collapsing, we will see two more countries join the war. We see Turkey trying to reclaim its old land, or I think Turkey occupied this. Well, Israel will just invade because they are kind of close with Turkey. If Turkey's in a war, then Israel is in the war. We see these guys also pushing in from the south. These guys' plan is to go up there, but they know that Israel will probably get there first, so they quickly run all the way through up here, invading, taking that city before Israel could get there, which Israel was probably right there, so instead Israel would just cut them off. Which Israel is actually so which Turkey is like, Israel, stop. You're gonna cause another big war. Which Israel's response is, I don't care. So Israel will kind of just be doing its own thing as Turkey doesn't join this war. You see that Israel will start pushing into Arabia or Saudi Arabia. then these guys will officially process that betrayed. Push back, taking both of those cities back before taking the rest of those. Which things seem to be going all good for Arabia until actually we see a rebellion, which will be Yemen. We see Yemen doesn't really like how much Saudi Arabia is expanding, or Oman, I don't really care which one it is. See that another rebellion, but it'll actually be an anarchist rebellion, which is actually somehow a government, but like the people just don't care. There's no laws except for if you try to kill any government figures, then you're just executed. So this is kind of a fascist country, which these two will kind of see that, and then they will agree to stop fighting to just destroy these guys. Pushing up north. Wow. We see these guys walking all the way through the unclaimed territory, taking this. But then the fascists will end up going and asking India for help, which then India will aid the fascists to kind of push back, but India doesn't know that. We see these guys kind of pushing out. Well, they are just pushing for Arabia until they see that. And these guys will officially peace out with Yemen, but they take all of this. I see that these guys just start invading, which they mobilize their entire population. Like, as long as you can hold a, like, sword or shield, then you're in military. So we see that Arabia is starting to collapse as Yemen or Oman pushes up. We see that these guys will try to push out one last time, but then Egypt goes to war and takes the capital before anyone else can, which causes them to just full on collapse. So now we can see a peace treaty, which this is the outlines, which we will see. This is the peace treaty. Alright, so after that war, we will have Egypt expanding into Somaliland and the Horn of Africa before they actually discover this Kenyan like tribe country, which it's probably just a bunch of tribes, which they are kind of just taking everything that they explore, which we will see that Egypt doesn't really like that, so they just invade it thinking that, but then all these tribes just realize this and then they all unite to just try and kill India. Egypt. You see them kind of pushing against Egyptian forces as these guys, because they are just like, I don't know, they just like to aid countries. So we see them, the tribes quickly expanding. they're they're just destroying everything they see. We see them pushing up into here, and Egypt wasn't expecting them to be this barbaric, as they just raid this city and just genocide the entire population of this city. Which we will see that Egypt doesn't really want more of that to happen, so they end up surrendering. Which, after the tribes officially formed their country, after they finished uniting, this is what it ends up looking like. So we see a huge canyon country. So we will see these guys expanding south a little bit. This green country too. Along with these guys, which they kind of expand south until they realize that they can't get a ocean border, so they quickly just go over and take that lake. These guys see that they can't really expand much anymore, so they just run over and take... Oh, that's too much land. They just take every unclaimed piece of land, including that. See them pushing up into here before they cut off this pink country, which makes this pink country bad. They just start invading. Quickly try to take the capital until they're just evaporated, because these guys are maybe 20 times stronger. Yeah, they're very strong. That's before these guys can even reach this lake. We end up seeing the pink country surrender, which the pink country ends up looking like this. So after this war, we will actually see these guys just quickly pushing in, taking most of the country, which then it just collapses. This peace treaty is also pretty simple. They just end up taking nearly half of the country. These guys will actually end up buying... Oh wait, that's the lake. I'm dumb. No, they don't buy the capital. India will go ahead and connect that land. See India expanding over here before they do multiple missions to try and explore southern India. As they reach southern India, they will actually discover weird metal box things, which they end up just thinking is useless, so they take it back to India and just melt it down for armor and stuff. If they even are in the Iron Age. If they're not in the Iron Age, they just make 20 statues. So they don't really know what those weird boxes were, those metal boxes with buttons. You see India doing a couple more able to pretty well understand this gray place, which then we will see a new color for unexplored. Which this will mean that they can pretty accurately guess what it looks like in the area. So this is what they think it looks like in these unexplored parts, which they will then explore, which they will be mostly right. Which we see these guys also exploring these areas, which they are also right, mostly, as most of these are pretty. Most of this guessing is pretty bad. They kind of guessed bad. See that some of these areas will be explored, such as this. We see that Russia will finally end up discovering the entire Caspian Sea. You see this lake being discovered, which then there will be a few small trips across here. Most of them will be had until we see a pretty major event. We see over 20,000 maps get lost or destroyed, which no one really knows how these maps got lost or destroyed. So if you're in the red team, you don't know any of these areas exist anymore. Or you'd hear rumors about it, but you wouldn't really know it's confirmed. Survived. So India will kind of try to do some more maps, so that more, because this really hurts India as countries kind of start to forget about Asia, which leads to Asian countries' trade getting just destroyed. So we see India mass producing maps, which will actually help some of India be known to the old world, which for now we will consider this the old world and this the new world. As these continents won't be discovered until 2020 or something. We see these guys quickly be able to map out more of this area, which they quickly do map out, until this entire area is remapped out. You see India can finish producing their maps until Bangladesh will actually realize this, which they didn't know, which is why their trade is reduced so much. So they will produce a ton of maps that look something like this and sell them all to these countries, which then those countries make more maps, which then more of the world sees. We end up seeing the rest of Asia being remapped out, but we actually won't see much of the Americas being mapped out because there's no place to do it. So I think this will be we see Russia expanding a lot. These guys also make some expansions, as they're just trying to hope that they didn't get forgotten about. Which then these guys will start to panic because they think that the Europeans and Africans will forget about them, which leads to them just massively expanding to not be forgotten about. Which this expansion leads to a coalition. As Russia is really, really just insanely mad. So we see that Russia will quickly push in, which then Turkey sees this as a free land opportunity. You see these guys pushing in to take some of their lost land. And then we see the fascists just steamrolling this entire place. You see, India doesn't join the war, but they allow the fascists to move through their country. As India is kind of becoming fascist themselves. Which then we will just see anarchy appear around this country. We see multiple anarchist groups appearing across the country. As most of the country is going into anarchy, as a lot of explorers just don't want to be in the country anymore, we actually see a yellow Kazakhstan country form as a group of the anarchy, which they will quickly take back this, restoring it. So we see yellow Kazakhstan kind of expanding or rebelling. We see anarchy continuing over here before the central government will try to retake it, which is kind of successful, but then you got the Russians. So you're kind of like not able to do anything. We see the fascists just steamrolling this anarch group, which they will just delete the anarchist. Officially surrendering to the fascists, which might not have been the smartest move. They should have surrendered to like these guys, because now their country is being genocided. As we see, I think there was a war, I don't know. But we see some major cities being updated. But the most major event for this video, we will enter probably the most insane winter ever that this world might ever see. As most of the world freezes up. As this has been brewing the entire episode, but now it's just gotten insanely bad to where the point most of the water on Earth has frozen. As the Earth is rapidly cooling down because all of the ice and snow is just reflecting more sunlight off into space, which makes it even colder. Now, let's update this. Which, first of all, you see this spreading across most of the globe. We see this encompassing more of the globe. Temperatures have dropped insanely low. we see this being what the Earth's temperature is, which is brutal. So here we will see we enter the age of desperation, as even the strongest countries can easily be defeated by just this simple, weak country that has a lot of warm water, as water is going to be very important in this arc, as these guys probably can beat most of most of India is probably the third strongest now, with the So if you have a lot of coastline in this arc, then you'd probably be able to destroy a lot of larger countries. Or maybe if you are like the red team and you barely have any coast, you might just collapse, as many countries will start trying to develop more stuff to warm you up, so you not just freeze to death. As we see a few countries enter into anarchy, which we see these countries enter anarchy, as their governments are just not able to do anything, and most of their population will just freeze to death, which we will update those cities that are frozen. Which most cities that aren't capitals got just evaporated. They just are frozen until they don't even exist anymore. We see the population of this world going from about 15 to 20 million all the way down to just 10 million. So just at the start of this major winter, we see 5 million people froze to death. 5 to 10 million. So, yeah. That will be the end of this Wicso. Like and subscribe. Share the video. Do some pretty cool stuff, like sharing it with about 86 trillion people. And like and subscribe. Also, just so you know, I do have the original map, which this is actually what the world looks like, except for the anarchy layer, which this is pretty interesting. Alright, so see you next episode, which will probably be in like 18 hours or so.